We had been married for 5 years. In the beginning, everything felt like a dream. Laughter, affection, promises of forever. But over time, conversations faded, replaced by silence and unspoken tension. She was exhausted by housework, and I was buried under office stress. The gap between us kept widening. One evening, during an argument, she finally broke down. "I'm not your maid. I need to discover myself. I wasn't born just to serve this house." Her voice trembled with both pain and rebellion. In that moment, I realized something was breaking between us, something I wasn't sure could be fixed. Her words struck me like a sharp blade. I always thought marriage meant partnership, caring for each other, enduring struggles together. But now it seemed she wanted more than what I could give. Was she tired of me? Was I no longer enough? I couldn't understand what discovering herself really meant. At work, while driving, even lying awake at night, her words echoed endlessly in my mind. Was she planning to leave me for dreams that didn't include me? Or worse, was she already halfway gone? Fear and insecurity slowly began to consume me. Days turned into weeks, and she became distant. She spent hours reading, joining workshops, meeting new people, and talking less to me. I supported her outwardly, saying, "Do what makes you happy," but inside I felt abandoned. Our home no longer felt like a sanctuary. It felt like a hotel where two strangers shared space. She laughed more on phone calls with friends than she ever did with me. The intimacy that once held us together dissolved into routine. I convinced myself that she had chosen her freedom over our love. That thought filled me with bitterness and loneliness. In my loneliness, I started confiding in a colleague, Maya. She listened when my wife no longer did. She laughed at my jokes, appreciated my efforts, and gave me the attention I was starving for. It began with coffee breaks at work, then long chats over texts, and soon late-night phone calls. I told myself it was harmless, just a friend filling an emotional void. But the truth was, I craved that connection desperately. Each time Maya smiled at me, I felt alive again. I didn't realize how dangerously close I was drifting to the edge of betrayal. One night after a long, stressful day, Maya offered to drop me home. Instead, we stopped at a quiet cafe. We talked for hours, about dreams, failures, and loneliness. She leaned closer, her hand brushing against mine. My heart raced. For a moment, I thought about my wife, but the ache of being unwanted by her drowned out the guilt. That night, I crossed a line. I cheated. It wasn't just physical, it was emotional long before that moment. As I drove home, guilt gripped me, but so did an odd sense of comfort. For once, I felt desired again. The next morning, I couldn't look my wife in the eye. She was busy with her new hobby, painting. Her hands were messy with colors, and her face glowed with satisfaction. She didn't even notice how restless I was. I realized she was genuinely happy exploring herself, while I had searched for happiness in someone else's arms. The irony stung me deeply. I told myself it was a mistake, that I wouldn't repeat it. But every time I felt ignored, I found myself texting Maya again. My guilt grew heavier, yet my weakness kept pulling me back. Weeks later, my wife confronted me, not about cheating, but about our marriage. "We don't talk anymore," she said. "You don't even try to understand me. Do you even see me?" I wanted to scream the truth, confess my betrayal, and beg for forgiveness. But fear silenced me. Instead, I nodded, pretending to care, while my mind replayed the nights with Maya. That evening, I looked at my wife and realized how far apart we had drifted. She was chasing her freedom, while I was running from my loneliness. We were together, under one roof but living separate lives. The guilt became unbearable. Maya began demanding more time, more commitment. "If she doesn't value you, why stay?" she asked. Her words tempted me, but they also terrified me. I didn't want to lose my wife despite everything. I loved her even if I felt invisible. Torn between two worlds, I avoided both. I stayed late at work, ignored Maya's calls, and avoided deep conversations with my wife. My life became a prison of my own lies. Every silence at home, every unread message from Maya, every fake smile from me, it all chipped away at my soul. One night, unable to bear it any longer, I confessed. I told my wife everything, how lonely I felt, how I found comfort elsewhere, and how I had betrayed her. Her face turned pale, then red with anger. Tears streamed down, but her voice was steady. You didn't cheat because I wanted to discover myself. You cheated because you couldn't wait, because instead of supporting me, you abandoned me emotionally. Her words pierced deeper than any blade. For the first time, I saw the real damage I had caused, not just to her, but to our marriage's foundation. She didn't leave me that night, but she didn't forgive me either. She said she needed time, maybe months, maybe years, to decide if we had a future. As she slept on the other side of the bed, I stared at the ceiling, realizing the truth. She was never my maid, and I was never her master. Marriage was supposed to be about growth, together, not apart. Yet in my fear of losing her, I lost myself. I thought cheating would fill my emptiness, but it only hollowed me further. The question now was, could we ever heal?